During the interview, my ex-boyfriend was sitting in the CEO's chair. The HR manager asked, "What are your career goals?" My mind was flooded with memories of my ex, and on impulse, the words tumbled out. To be the boss's wife. One, if I've sinned, let heaven punish me, but don't make me run into my ex-boyfriend during a job interview. Huafu Group conference room. My head had been buzzing ever since I walked in. Sitting right there in the middle seat was my ex-boyfriend. The nameplate in front of him clearly read CEO. And the position I was interviewing for? Secretary to the CEO. Ethan Cole, my ex-boyfriend, the penniless guy I used to support, was the CEO of a publicly traded company. It all felt completely surreal. I met Ethan while traveling abroad. We got chatting and discovered we both lived in the same city back home. After returning, one thing led to another, as adults with mutual attraction often do, and we started dating. I still vividly remember Ethan showing up at my rented apartment door with his suitcase. His eyes crinkled into crescents as he stepped forward and hugged me. "Clara, I've come to rely on you." Just like that, he brazenly moved into my tiny apartment. To Ethan was actually a perfect lover, handsome, considerate, and a decent cook. It was incredibly sweet at the beginning. After moving in with me, Ethan remained unemployed. My salary wasn't high, but it was enough to keep us both from starving. Ultimately, money was the reason we broke up. Ethan had a strong appetite, night after night of passion. It reached the point where I couldn't concentrate at work. I realized if things continued like that, I'd lose my job. Forget supporting him, I'd barely be able to support myself, so I decisively broke up with him. He stared at me, eyes wide with disbelief, then red-rimmed as he asked, "Why?" I couldn't meet his gaze. My pride got the better of me. I couldn't admit I was afraid I couldn't afford him. Instead, I gave him a ridiculous excuse. "I like someone else. Being with you was just for fun." Just for fun, when I returned to the apartment that evening, there was no trace of Ethan left. No one was waiting to have dinner with me anymore. It was as if he had never been there at all. 3, I mumbled my way through the initial questions. HR, "So, what are your career goals?" My mind was completely filled with memories of Ethan. It blanked and the words just slipped out. "To be the boss's wife." Silence fell instantly. PFFT, someone was desperately trying to stifle laughter. Realizing what I'd said, I looked up at Ethan. His face was expressionless, but a faint, contemptuous smirk played on his lips. "Trying to sleep your way to the top?" Mortified, I waved my hands frantically. "Just kill me now." What was I saying? What I meant was, I plan to prioritize the company's interests above all else, treat the company like my own home. HMPH. The interview ended with Ethan's cold snort. 4, I couldn't understand why I still received a job offer from Huafu Group. Was Ethan planning some kind of revenge? Would he try to make things difficult for me? All my worries vanished the moment I saw my bank account balance after the first paycheck. Besides, the salary was double what I used to make. You can hold a grudge against anyone, but you can't argue with money. My first day was sheer torture. Thanks to my interview performance, rumors about me were flying even before I officially started. Some colleagues even teased me to my face. "Clara, don't forget us little guys when you become the boss's wife. You got this? Nothing better to do?" Ethan's cold voice cut through the chatter. Everyone scattered like birds, leaving me alone to face him. Traitors. Ethan gestured with his eyes for me to follow him to his office. Walking behind him, I shamelessly admired his physique. The high-quality white shirt clung perfectly to his broad shoulders and narrow waist. Beneath the perfectly tailored suit trousers were legs whose lean strength only I truly knew. I swallowed hard, practically drooling. Thankfully, Ethan only paused for a second before continuing onward. Honestly, not long after breaking up with Ethan, I regretted it. I guess you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Once you've tasted something exquisite, it's hard to go back to a simple life, especially when the something was that good. Serves me right for getting a zit on my chin like some middle-aged teenager. 5, as my secretary, I expect you to understand that your phone needs to be on 24/7, and you must be available whenever I call. Inside, I was cursing him out, but on the surface, I smiled sweetly. "Mr. Cole, what about overtime pay?" Ethan glanced up at me, a sly grin touching his lips. "The company rewards hard work. If you perform well, bonuses won't be an issue." Damn capitalists. Suddenly, I didn't feel so bad about what I'd done to him in the past. Ethan's long fingers idly flipped through the documents in his hand. "Mr. Cole, if there's nothing else, I'll head out. One more thing, please refrain from spreading baseless rumors." Me. "You may leave." 6 that evening, Ethan took me to a networking event. "Mr. Cole, allow me to toast you. I hope we'll have many opportunities to collaborate in the future." A portly, middle-aged man beamed obsequiously at Ethan. Ethan, behaving like the superior he was, merely nodded and smiled faintly. He pushed his glass towards me. Taking the hint, I picked it up. "Mr. Davis, Mr. Cole isn't drinking tonight. I'll take this one for him." I downed the glass in one go. A steady stream of people came to toast Ethan, and I fielded them all. My tolerance for alcohol is actually quite decent. But thanks to the dry biscuit Ethan had practically forced on me that morning, I'd had no appetite for lunch. Having eaten nothing all day and consumed a fair bit of alcohol, my stomach started protesting. "Mr. Cole, a toast to you." Another one approached. I discreetly pressed my left hand against my stomach, silently mourning my fate. Resigned, I reached for a glass. Ethan took the glass from my hand and drank it himself. Then he turned away to chat amiably with someone else. Okay, seemed like I wasn't needed anymore. I took the opportunity to stuff some food into my stomach, which instantly felt much better. As a newbie still on probation, I volunteered again to take drinks for Ethan. For some reason, though, Ethan's expression grew increasingly sour. After the event ended, I followed Ethan, unsteady on my feet. Just as I was about to fall, Ethan caught me. I slurred, "TH. Thanks, still living at the old place?" I blinked and nodded. Ethan sighed, almost inaudibly. "Haven't learned a thing." 7 A Bentley sped through the night, entering the old, slightly run-down residential complex. "Is your boyfriend home?" I blinked innocently up at him. "Aren't you right here?" Ethan pushed my face away. "We broke up." Why did he sound so much like a jilted lover? Suddenly, I started bawling and singing. "Happy breakup, wish you happiness, you'll find someone better." My caterwauling attracted quite a bit of attention from passers-by. Exasperated, Ethan simply swept me up into his arms and carried me upstairs. I didn't stay still in his embrace, hands roaming all over his body. "Where did your washboard abs go? Why do you have a pimple?" Ethan's voice was husky. "Stop moving," I continued my exploration undeterred, even giving the pimple a firm squeeze. Ethan grunted, shifted his grip, and hoisted me onto his shoulder. Once inside, Ethan tossed me onto the bed like a sack of old rags. In the earlier struggle, several buttons on my blouse had unknowingly come undone. A glimpse of pale skin, a flash of décolletage. Ethan's body grew warm involuntarily. Habitually, I started undressing on the bed, but fumbled with the clasp of my bra. Click. A cool hand unfastened it. The familiar sensation sent a shiver down my spine. I turned and wrapped my arms around his neck, studying his face closely, murmuring, "Ethan. No, wait, am I having another one of those dreams?" A slight smile touched Ethan's lips. He leaned down, his deep, magnetic voice whispering in my ear. "Do you want it?" My earlobes flushed red. My misty eyes blinked, and I gave a slight nod. "You asked for this." He immediately leaned down, skillfully parting my lips, brazenly invading every inch of my territory. He took relentlessly, conquering. I felt weak all over, collapsing onto the bed. "Let's get you cleaned up." "No, why shower in a dream?" Ignoring my protests, he carried me into the bathroom. Ethan turned on the shower. Soon, hot steam enveloped us both. He pressed me against the wall. The cold tiles made me flinch. Without warning, he bit my lower lip, his large hand caressing my slender waist. Our breathing grew ragged again. 9 morning sunlight streamed through the window, falling on the 2 figures sleeping in an embrace. A shrill ringing phone shattered the peaceful scene. Someone was shaking my body vigorously. Annoyed, I swatted his hand away, grumbling. "Leave me alone," but the person persisted, shaking me even harder. "It's your phone." A man's voice? I jolted awake, sitting bolt upright. Ethan tossed the phone to me and started dressing himself. Slam! The forceful sound of the door closing echoed as Ethan's back disappeared from view. Only then did clarity return. So, yesterday wasn't a dream. Remembering the intensity of the previous night, I giggled foolishly for a long time. The phone was still ringing relentlessly. I picked it up and my smile froze. The caller ID read, "Hubby 10." I rushed to the office in a panic. I stormed towards the CEO's office, talking as I opened the door. Ethan, you left so suddenly this morning. Listen to me. The three people inside turned simultaneously to stare at me. Vice President, Director, sorry to interrupt. Please continue. I subtly started backing away. Ethan stopped me. I obediently froze. Let's leave it at that for now. You two can go. As the VP and director left, they gave me a knowing look. A look that screamed, we understand everything. I knew I'd messed up again. All I could do was stand there awkwardly. Ethan loosened his tie, looking annoyed. Clara, let's just pretend last night never happened. He must have misunderstood. I quickly tried to explain. Actually, he cut me off. If you want some kind of compensation, just name it. Don't get any other ideas. I struggled to grasp his meaning. You think I came looking for you for money? Ethan walked dejectedly to the floor-to-ceiling window, gazing at the traffic below. Clara, I think we're ultimately from two different worlds. Tears welled up in my eyes. I fought to keep my voice steady. Don't worry, I'll know my place from now on. I won't harbor any delusional hopes, mister. Cole, with that, I bolted out of the office. I hid in the restroom and cried for a while. Gradually, I calmed down. Suddenly, it clicked. Either way, I hadn't lost out. Just consider it a free night with a high-class escort. If I ever get emotional about Ethan Cole again, I swear I'll turn into a puppy. 11 lately, the office had been buzzing with all sorts of rumors about Ethan and me. Meanwhile, the two of us involved acted more distant than regular colleagues. After observing for a while, everyone reached a conclusion. I'd been dumped by Mr. Cole that was the kinder version. The nastier gossip claimed I'd shamelessly tried to seduce Ethan. And after being rejected, he'd thoroughly humiliated me. I just treated it all as entertainment. After all, I was the one who dumped Ethan back in the day. But that wasn't my biggest worry. The most stressful thing was the non-stop calls from my mother. Your cousin Emily is getting married this weekend. If you come back this time without bringing a boyfriend, I'm telling you, don't bother coming back at all. It's too embarrassing. Before I could even respond, she hung up. Staring at the dark phone screen, I sighed softly. My cousin, 5 years younger than me, was getting married. It seemed to have really gotten to Mom. I heard Emily's fiancé came from a well-off family. My Aunt Patricia and my mom had never gotten along. She'd probably been bragging non-stop to Mom. Judging by the recent frequency of Mom's calls, she must have taken a lot of flack. If I really didn't go, Mom would absolutely kill me. But where was I supposed to find a boyfriend on such short notice? As I was worrying, a figure flashed past me. I yelled out. Walter Miller. He flinched and turned around slowly. Miss Hayes, what can I do for you? Wasn't he the perfect candidate? Tall, looked reasonably dependable. With a little sprucing up, he could probably fool everyone. Walter looked extremely uncomfortable under my scrutiny. What is it? Walter was Ethan's driver. I often rode in his car when going out. During the times we waited together for Ethan, our conversations evolved from polite small talk to jointly badmouthing the boss behind his back. He was the only one who believed there was nothing going on between Ethan and me. Because the curses I used for Ethan were definitely not broadcast-friendly, I pulled him into an empty break room. After I painfully parted with $2,000, Walter finally agreed to pretend to be my boyfriend. We emerged from the break room, smiling, and ran smack into Ethan walking towards us. 12 Ethan's sharp gaze darted between the two of us. What were you two doing in there? Walter desperately tried to hide behind me, making it look like we actually had done something. But even if we had, it was none of his business. What right did he have to question us? Mr. Cole, it's lunchtime. I don't think we need to report our private affairs to you. Ethan actually laughed, clearly angered. Is this how a married woman should behave? Walter suddenly jumped. Miss Hayes, if you're married, why did you ask me to pretend to be your boyfriend? My head throbbed. I rubbed my temples. This was getting more tangled by the second. Under Ethan's interrogation, Walter spilled the entire plan. To put Walter's mind at ease, I explained the hubby incident. It was all a misunderstanding. My phone broke recently. Since I didn't have money for a new one, I started using my best friend's old phone. I hadn't paid any attention to the contact names saved in it. That morning, my friend's husband must have lost his mind. He called bright and early, demanding I like his social media post immediately. He was 1 like away from getting a free pot. Seriously, that guy. 13 that evening, I arranged to meet Walter to get him a decent outfit. But the person who showed up was Ethan. Where's Walter? I sent him to pick someone up. Then, what are you doing here? Ethan looked slightly uncomfortable, murmuring, Actually, I could do it too. What did you say? If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. I turned to go. Who wants to see their boss after work? I'd rather go home and watch TV. He grabbed my arm, suggesting we have dinner together. Naturally, I refused. He gritted his teeth and said it would count as overtime. I immediately agreed cheerfully. Ethan took me to an upscale restaurant. Clara, honestly, I think having Walt pretend to be your boyfriend is pretty unreliable. I inelegantly speared a large piece of steak and stuffed it into my mouth. Wow, this steak was tender. How so? Neither of you are actors and you don't know each other well. Your mom will definitely sense something's off. I nodded in agreement. You actually have a point. Actually, I think I'll just tell Walter to talk less, play the cool, aloof type. Unexpectedly kind of Ethan to give me a heads up. Huh, what were you about to say? Ethan took a deep breath. Nothing, just eat. Ethan downed half a glass of red wine in one go. Is this how rich people drink red wine now? Too bad about such expensive wine, I wouldn't dare touch it anymore. Because drinking leads to regrettable incidents in the end. Although I remained sober, Ethan got drunk. Treating red wine like water, even a saint would get drunk. I called Walter. Mr. Cole's drunk. Come pick him up quickly. Miss Hayes, Mr. Cole sent me on an errand to B City. I can't make it back, I wanted to cry. Ethan kept pawing at me. I gave him a hard slap across the face, and the world finally went quiet. 14 ultimately, I still had to haul the very drunk Ethan back to my place. Panting heavily, I flung his arm off and he landed squarely on the floor. HMPH, a muffled grunt. I thought I'd shocked him awake. But after waiting a long moment, there was no movement. Frustrated, I kicked him a couple more times. Jerk. Ethan, his back to me, lips pressed tightly together, face scrunched up. I sniffed myself, disgusted by the smell. Quickly grabbed my pajamas and went into the bathroom to shower. Splash, 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 I stood under the spray. Suddenly, a hard chest pressed against my back. I almost screamed. He clamped a hand over my mouth. His lips brushed against my sensitive earlobe as he whispered my name. Clara, it's me. I shivered, clearly feeling a certain change against my back. He turned me around, possessively locking onto my lips. He took relentlessly, as if punishing me for my earlier actions. The kiss grew fiercer, more dominant, as though he wanted to devour me whole. Sensing I was about to suffocate, Ethan finally released my lips. You're shameless. I couldn't help but curse him. Ethan chuckled softly. There's more shamelessness to come. He knew my body too well. Gradually, I lost all strength. All I could do was cling tightly to him, letting him take what he wanted. Through a hazy blur, two tall figures moved, water splashing everywhere. 15, I woke the next morning feeling like I'd been run over by a truck. The space beside me in bed was empty. Ethan had left me a message. Rest well today, don't come into the office. He was just like before. He did all the work, yet he was still full of energy the next day. Life really isn't fair. Unsure how to face Ethan, I took the day off and went straight home. My mom immediately started nagging again. I shot a pleading look at my dad, but he just grabbed his teacup and walked out the door. Afraid of getting caught in the crossfire, you really got a boyfriend? Yeah. Mom's attitude did a complete 180. Quick, tell Mom what he does. I described Walter as an ambitious, responsible young man working under the CEO. In a way, my description of Walter was fairly accurate. After that, I finally enjoyed a few peaceful days. Ethan contacted me once, asking if I'd gone home. I didn't reply. My feelings for him were still complicated, and I didn't want to give myself false hope. My cousin Emily's wedding arrived as scheduled. I waited anxiously at the hotel entrance. Walter had said he'd be there in 10 minutes, but there was still no sign of him. My mom was even more anxious than me, constantly asking if my boyfriend had arrived. She'd already boasted about him to the relatives. If I embarrassed her now, she really would kill her own daughter. Damn it, Walter, why wasn't he even answering his phone? The call finally connected. Hey, where are you? The wedding's about to start, hurry up. Sorry, miss. Hayes, I can't make it. Mr. Cole needed me for something urgent. What? I'm really sorry. With that, Walter hung up. I stamped my foot in frustration. That jerk Ethan absolutely did this on purpose. He knew what today was, deliberately trying to embarrass me. No time to confront him now. The immediate priority was to soothe my mother's temper. I had just sat down next to Mom when some tactless relative piped up. "Clara, where's your boyfriend? Why isn't he here yet?" Just hitting a sore spot. My Clara's boyfriend is a high-flying professional, very busy. Something must have held him up, Mom jumped in. I forced an awkward laugh, but they wouldn't let it go. "Is that so? Clara, don't tell us he's not coming in the end. Maybe he's not presentable, so he didn't come. Clara, don't tell me you saw your cousin marrying well and just made up a non-existent boyfriend." Aunt Patricia chimed in, seizing the chance to kick me while I was down. The surrounding relatives nodded in agreement. My dear relatives were all eager to watch the drama unfold. I coldly observed this lovely bunch. Mom pinched my thigh hard. "Ouch, fine, I couldn't just sit there." I tried to maintain a smile. "Everyone, listen, my boyfriend is..." 16 Suddenly, there was a commotion at the entrance. Everyone turned to look. A tall, impeccably dressed figure slowly came into focus. "Ethan!" I gasped and stood up. Seeing me, Ethan smiled and strode purposefully towards me. He reached my side and put his arm intimately around my shoulders. "Sorry, Clara, I'm late." My eyes widened. What was happening? "Clara, why didn't you tell us Mr. Cole was your boyfriend?" My cousin-in-law, Daniel Foster, was practically bowing, his face alight with sycophancy. This guy really judged people by their status. He used to call me by my first name, along with Emily. This was the first time I'd heard him call me Cousin Clara. The relatives started whispering. Anyone could see Ethan was someone important. Aunt Patricia's expression shifted rapidly. Ethan acted completely at ease, as if this was all perfectly normal. He looked at me dotingly. "It's nothing worth mentioning. She prefers to keep a low profile. I'm the one who insisted on tagging along." As soon as he finished speaking, he pulled out a thick red envelope and handed it to Daniel. "Congratulations on your wedding," I heard someone gasp nearby. Even though it wasn't my money, I felt a pang of sympathy for his wallet. This guy was stingy with me but so generous with others. Aunt Patricia's face instantly broke into a wide smile. The relatives switched from aggressive questioning to warm familiarity. Daniel, fearing he wasn't being hospitable enough, kept coming over to offer toasts. In my 20-plus years, I'd never seen my mother's smile stay plastered on her face for so long. I was genuinely afraid her face would crack from smiling. Perhaps it all felt too unreal, because halfway through, Mom leaned over and asked me, "This boyfriend isn't someone you rented, is he?" I wanted to say I did rent one, but he stood me up. 17 by the time the wedding ended, it was quite late. I was preparing to take my parents home. My mom clung to Ethan's arm, refusing to let go. "Ethan, dear, where are you staying tonight?" "Mom, there are plenty of hotels. He has places to stay." I shot Ethan a look, hoping he'd take the hint and leave quickly. But the jerk actually started playing pitiful. "Mr. and Mrs. Hayes, it seems Clara doesn't really welcome me. I guess I'll just find somewhere random to stay." My mom wouldn't hear of it. She shot me a fierce glare. "Come on, come home with us. If she doesn't welcome you, your Aunt Helen does, unexpectedly." My dad sided with Mom too, completely ignoring my opinion. There were only 2 bedrooms in the house. I told Ethan to sleep on the sofa, but Mom was the first to object. She pushed Ethan straight into my room. I didn't realize Mrs. Hayes was so open-minded. Looking at Ethan's innocent face, I was speechless. Just keep pretending. Inside the room, I crossed my arms, scrutinizing him. "All right, spill it. What was today all about?" Ethan's well-defined fingers began unbuttoning his shirt. He watched me intently as he did so. "Clara, I'd like to take a shower first." His hands continued downward. Damn man, trying to seduce me even now. "Wait, first you need to. Explain yourself clearly." His eyes were filled with exhaustion, bloodshot. He spoke weakly. "Clara, I drove all night to get here. I haven't slept at all." He leaned languidly against the doorframe, his shirt half unbuttoned, revealing a firm chest and hinting at abs below. Combined with his naturally handsome features, the sexual tension was palpable. I swallowed hard, fighting the urge to pounce on him. I shook my head. "Get a grip, Clara. Beauty can be dangerous." I grabbed the duvet and practically fled towards the door. "You can have the room. I'll sleep on the sofa." Ethan caught me around the waist and lifted me. "Ah, Quiet down, don't wake your parents. Startled, I immediately clapped a hand over my mouth. I struggled, trying to get down. The man who seemed so weak moments ago held me firmly. No amount of struggling could break his hold. The world spun. Instinctively, I wrapped my arms around Ethan's neck. My legs clamped tightly around his narrow waist. His long hands cupped my bottom. He even gave my flesh a firm squeeze. This mortifying position made me want to disappear. Let me go. Ethan carried me over and sat down on the bed. He buried his head in my neck and sighed. Clara, I'm never letting you go again. Since you can't be with the person you like, let's be together. Honestly, it would be a lie to say I wasn't moved. The proud Ethan Cole was willing to compromise, willing to accept that I liked someone else. I sighed too, wrapping my arms around him. Ethan, what if I told you the person I said I liked before was made up? Would you believe me? He pushed me back abruptly, cupping my face excitedly. Really? I explained the whole situation from back then. He angrily called me an idiot, saying I'd made him miserable for ages. I also asked him why he hadn't told me his real identity before, why he'd come to me penniless. It turned out he had defied a family-arranged marriage for my sake back then. He had come looking for me with absolutely nothing, and then I kicked him out. My guilt deepened. Fortunately, his family eventually relented when they saw how determined he was. He had successfully returned home. Since the misunderstandings are cleared up, let's not waste any more time. Didn't you say you haven't slept all? Wait, before I could finish, he pulled me close, cupped the back of my head, and greedily kissed my lips. Finally, after my desperate pleas, he stopped. 18, I woke up to the sound of cheerful laughter. Still half asleep, I felt the empty space beside me in bed. Remembering I was still at my parents' house, I quickly got up. Opening the bedroom door, I saw my dad, my mom, and Ethan already sitting at the dining table, enjoying breakfast together harmoniously. Ethan pulled me down to sit with them. Whose house was this, anyway? Before taking me back to the city, Ethan bought a pile of gifts and had them delivered to my parents' house. He promised he'd be back for a formal visit soon. If I hadn't insisted we had things to do, Mom would have made us stay longer. I noticed Ethan wasn't driving towards my apartment. Where are you taking me? Ethan smiled mysteriously. Taking you to see our marital home. I shot him a playful glare. Who said I'd marry you? Take me back first. You're already mine. Where else could you run? Ethan's lovesick expression was almost too much to bear. The car sped off in another direction. Walking into the apartment, looking at every piece of decor, it was exactly as I had once imagined with him. My nose tingled. I turned and hugged him. Ethan, why are you so good to me? He hugged me back tightly. Because you deserve the best. Moved, I kissed his lips. He quickly took control, lifting me onto the dining table. His hard thigh pushed between my legs. I quickly pushed against his chest. No, please spare me today. My waist was still faintly aching. Ethan tucked my hair behind my ear, his voice already thick with desire. You started it. He captured my lips. I whimpered, trying to say something more. His large hands explored my slender waist, and I quickly surrendered. The battlefield shifted from the table to the sofa, then to the bed. By the time we finished, it was already dark. He gently kissed my forehead, telling me to sleep a little longer. Completely spent, I closed my eyes and drifted off. When I woke up, I went downstairs looking for Ethan. The man, clad in silk pajamas and an apron, was busy in the kitchen, skillfully washing vegetables, chopping, stir-frying. It gave me a sense of déjà vu, like everything was back to how it used to be. He turned and saw me. Smiling, he said, "Wait a moment, it's almost ready." He shooed me out of the kitchen, refusing my help. Soon, the rich aroma of cooking filled the air. The table was laden with all my favorite dishes. He truly loved me even more than I had imagined. 19, I discovered Ethan was incredibly jealous. Because of me, Walter Miller was transferred to another department. The driver was replaced by an older man. Once, I ran into Walter at the office and tried to say hello. He saw me, turned, and fled. He probably never imagined his former comrade in arms was actually a spy. Ethan kept wanting to take me to meet his parents, but knowing the huge difference in our backgrounds, I kept putting it off. Besides, if they found out I was the reason Ethan ran away from home back then, they would probably hate me. Unexpectedly, that day came much sooner than I thought, and under utterly mortifying circumstances. At home, Ethan could get horny at any moment. We were making out on the sofa when a middle-aged couple appeared at the door. "No wonder you haven't been home lately. So this is why," Catherine Cole, Ethan's mother, glanced reproachfully at him. My palms started sweating. My image was ruined. Ethan put his arm around my shoulder. Sensing my stiffness, he said somewhat accusingly, "Mom, don't scare Clara." I subtly pinched Ethan. Was he trying to get me killed? I carefully watched Mrs. Cole's reaction. Instead of getting angry, she laughed. "Haven't even married her yet, and you've already forgotten your mother. Clara, ignore these useless men. Come, I'll take you shopping." I must have watched too many dramas, assuming wealthy families were all arrogant and domineering. In reality, they were much easier to get along with than many people. Mrs. Cole kept having me try on clothes. Anything she liked, she bought. Later, when we got tired, she took me for beauty treatments. Mrs. Cole told me they had actually known about me for a long time. When Ethan first came back, he threw himself into the company. Initially, they were pleased, but soon noticed something was wrong. At business dinners, he would drink recklessly, often coming home completely drunk, muttering my name, saying he'd been dumped. I felt incredibly guilty, unable to meet Mrs. Cole's eyes, but she patted my hand. "Good job, girl. That boy has always had it easy. This was his first real setback. He usually drives me crazy." Finally, someone put him in his place. "Mrs. Cole, I actually always loved Ethan." "I know. I had someone look into you afterwards. When I found out you didn't mind him freeloading off you back then, I knew you must love him." Mrs. Cole also told me that my dismissal from my previous company was Ethan's doing. Seriously, that jerk made me anxious for ages that night. I confronted Ethan. He kept peppering me with kisses. "Clara, don't be angry." Naturally, we ended up making up in bed after the argument. Our wedding took place the following summer. Since then, my legend circulated through many companies. You have to state your career goals boldly. You never know, they might just come true. It wasn't until the 3rd year of our marriage that I got pregnant. Ethan looked at me glumly. "Honey, I'm going to have to become a monk." I chuckled inwardly. He surely couldn't figure out how, despite his precautions, I still managed to conceive. Of course, I had secretly tampered with things. Otherwise, that man would never have wanted me to get pregnant. Later, I gave birth to a baby boy. My focus shifted entirely to the child. Ethan even got jealous of his own son. He packed the baby off to the grandparents' house and whisked me away on an overseas vacation. As soon as we entered the hotel room, Ethan kissed me impatiently. He guided my hand to his belt. "Honey, help me." He had indeed been holding back for far too long. I obediently unbuckled his belt. His breathing grew heavier. Kissing me, he carried me to the bed. There was a bowl of fruit on the bed. Ethan reached out, popped a strawberry into my mouth. Then he took the other half of the strawberry between his lips. The strawberry juice trickled down from between our lips. Our lips met naturally, the sweet, fruity taste lingering between them. My hand restlessly traced circles on his broad, firm chest. Ethan's movements grew fiercer. The temperature in the room climbed, the air thick with steam. 2 tall figures intertwined, silhouetted against the pale yellow moonlight filtering through the floor-to-ceiling window. The end.